Introducing the new OPPO Find X9 Pro. This phone is the first next generation phone that we are reviewing on this channel. By next generation, I mean that it uses the next generation of chipsets, particularly the MediaTek Dimensity 9500 in this case. The new OPPO Find X9 Pro comes with a bunch of different changes and upgrades. So is it great or is it not? Let's find out in today's video, and please do hit that like and subscribe button as we are aiming to get 100k subs soon, so thanks a lot for that. Okay, let's start off with the design first. The OPPO Find X9 Pro comes with a, let's just say, brand new design that I think looks a lot sleeker than before, as the camera bump is now tucked nicely at the corner. While the one that we are showing here is the silk white color variant, the titanium charcoal actually looks mighty fine. We don't have any fancy textures or designs on the back panel this time around, which I think is a little out of character for OPPO, but I truly appreciate the simplicity this time around. One more thing that I think might be polarizing is that the OPPO Find X9 Pro uses a completely flat back panel and also a completely flat screen. I personally like this a lot, as screen protectors will just work better on this device. Speaking of the screen, this OPPO Find X9 Pro is touted to have one of the best displays with the thinnest bezel of any OPPO phone so far, measuring at only 1.15mm. Yeah, the bezels are real thin, but is the display good? Well, this is a 6.78-inch AMOLED screen with a resolution of 2772 by 1272 pixels, and also goes up to 120Hz refresh rate as well. Phones are now equipped with a resolution that is higher than the standard 1080p, and that's great. So when we tested the display using our colorimeter, this display can reach a maximum of around 1270 nits in auto brightness mode. Quite good, I'd say, though not the best, as I've personally tested some that are just at a higher display brightness. As for the color accuracy, this phone has a total of 3 different color profiles. The default one is the standard color profile, and it covers 98.41% of sRGB and 71.96% of DCI-P3 color gamuts, alongside low delta E numbers. As a quick recap, having a low DCI-P3 color gamut coverage means that the colors are just not as saturated. Switching over to the natural color profile though, this will result in a color gamut coverage of 98.13% in sRGB and 71.52% of DCI-P3. The results are very similar to the standard color profile, so I don't have any idea why they both coexist, because they're just so similar to each other. The third color profile is the vivid color profile, and as the name suggests, it is going to be really vivid, as it covers 99.97% of sRGB and 98.85% of DCI-P3 color gamuts. The maximum delta E number should be an outlier as well, since the average is so low. Overall, I'd say this display is pretty typical. Compared to the previous generation, the OPPO Find X9 Pro's display has some improvement, though it is not drastic in a way. The true improvement is in the quality of life, as the under-display fingerprint scanner is now an ultrasonic scanner, and it is also moved higher, so it is actually ergonomic to use, and also the flat display is just better in every single way, especially if you use a tempered glass screen protector. Now let's talk about the chipset. How does the new MediaTek Dimensity 9500 perform? Well, we have already published our full gaming test video. If you haven't checked that out yet, please do so after watching this review. We've also upgraded the gaming test videos to 4K right now, and I kinda regret that decision since it takes forever to render and the file size is humongous. Either way, the MediaTek Dimensity 9500 marks a step forward, as it is now using an entirely new generation of CPU cores and GPU that are designed by ARM. We also waited until recently before doing the gaming test, as there were many updates done to this phone for the past week, and the most recent update was a 10GB update. Yes, 10GB. We tested Genshin Impact at the highest graphical preset, and it was actually very good. It is basically at 60fps consistently, though the frame did drop a bit when we're in combat in the overworld Ateneu Not Cry region. The temperature is ever so slightly rising, and after about half an hour of tests in Genshin Impact, it didn't even hit the thermal limit of 41 degrees Celsius. Then comes Zenless Zone Zero, which is a very demanding game. At the highest graphical settings, the flower boss fight was surprisingly near 60 FPS at all time, though the game actually runs at a lower render resolution of 1766 by 810 pixels, and that actually will help to quote-unquote improve the performance a little bit. Also, the phone did eventually thermal throttle at 41 degrees Celsius and it dipped below 20 FPS when that happened. However, when we looked at the graph at the end of the gaming test, I was surprised to see that the performance eventually returns to the usual level, but the temperature continued to rise beyond the thermal limit and it thermal throttled once more at 42 degrees Celsius instead. I have no idea why it behaved this way, and this graph showed the behavior clearly. This is surely something weird going on with the software side of things, and I think it can be easily fixed via a software update. Wuthering Waves actually got a huge improvement as the nest areas were basically impossible to keep up with the previous generation of devices, but this Dimensity 9500 managed to keep the entire fight above 30 FPS. Though it did thermal throttle and drop to somewhere below 20 FPS as well, similar to how it behaved in Zenless Zone Zero. Then comes War Thunder Mobile. There was a graphical glitch here where when we set the ray tracing to the maximum, then it will have this kind of I don't know what this called, the flickering bits. Yeah, that is caused by a graphical glitch, and I think it is because this game does not support the Dimensity 9500 fully yet. Such things will happen as this phone is technically still not released to the market yet, so some updates will take some time to roll out. So once again, if you want to check out the entire gaming test from top to bottom, where we test even more games, then click the link down in the description below and hit that like and subscribe button while you're on your way there as well. Again, we're trying to hit 100k subs, so your support means a lot to us. Also, I want to highlight that the battery life of the global version of the OPPO Find X9 Pro comes with a massive 7500 mAh battery or 28.13 Wh in capacity. The reason why we use Wh is because it's just simply more superior compared to the mAh value when it comes to battery capacity measurement, so you can watch our video at the top right corner there to know why. This phone comes with such a huge battery capacity and it still looks like a typical slab phone, which is impressive. But is the battery actually impressive, or is the software gonna screw up the battery life? Well, thankfully that didn't happen, which is also quite unfortunate because our battery life test took more than 24 hours and I just spent the whole day there waiting. Yes, it lasts for 27 hours and 21 minutes. Seriously, I think we are on the verge of 2-day battery life smartphones with this kind of battery results. I used this phone as my hotspot phone when I was traveling as well, and at the end of the day, after taking a lot of pictures and a lot of messaging in the mix, I was still left with around 40% battery, and that is truly impressive. Oh, I also did a calculation on the efficiency and found out that the previous generation OPPO Find X8 Pro will consume around 1.3 watts throughout the entire PCMark battery life test, whereby the new OPPO Find X9 Pro will consume at just a little bit above 1 watt throughout the entire test. And that is a huge improvement that also extended the battery life of this phone. What about the charging speed then? Well, this phone comes with an 80 watt proprietary charger in the box, and with its default settings, it can charge from 15% to completion in around 90 minutes. Actually quite good considering that this phone has a battery capacity of 28.13 Wh. When we headed into the settings menu and enabled the fastest charging option, I couldn't actually find that option. This option kinda looks like it, so I enabled it and redid the charging test once more. And it sort of charged faster, but only marginally. The temperature did increase a lot though, so I personally would suggest you to just turn off this option. And then when we connected the phone to a USB PD-PPS charger, the phone can only take around 42 watts at most, and the charging time from 15% to completion is similar to the proprietary charger, but using the USB PD-PPS charger, we can actually get to the 50% battery charge the fastest compared to the proprietary 80 watt charger. In comparison, using USB PD-PPS charger takes 5 minutes faster to reach the 50% mark. This is great as I'm not tied to OPPO's proprietary charger to get any sort of fast charging, and it's especially important while traveling as well. Also makes you think that what does the phone actually do with the proprietary 80-watt charger, since the 42-watt charger is faster than the 80-watt charger. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the software as well. The OPPO Find X9 Pro comes with the latest ColorOS 16 with Android 16. It has a bunch of different changes compared to the previous generation, like super smooth animations where we can open apps and swipe them away really quickly, but I do think that this is one of the dumbest tests that anyone can do, as no one uses their phone this way. Either way, I think that the default animation speed is way too slow, so I sped it up. We can do this by heading into the Home Settings menu and tapping on this option. ColorOS 16 also comes with a bunch of home screen and lock screen customizations, which are definitely pretty and has a lot of different options too. OPPO also removed the alert slider and replaced it with something they call it as the Snap Key. I mean, it's clearly an inspiration from the fruit brand, and we can do a few things with it. One of the most interesting things is the Mindspace. You see, by default, the Snap Key is using this shortcut to save stuff into Mindspace. While I personally didn't get to spend much time with it, it's essentially an agentic AI that doubles as a personal assistant, reminder, and also somewhere to keep our memos either in screenshot form or a voice recording. Then we can head into the Mindspace and ask it questions about the things that we have saved. It's actually a very handy feature, and I can see myself using this feature if I'm ever gonna use the OPPO Find X9 Pro as my daily driver, that is. As for the cameras, we'll only briefly mention it here as we have yet another video dedicated to talk about just all of the pictures taken with the OPPO Find X9 Pro at Taipei. In short, we have all of these cameras as shown on the screen here. That periscope camera though is the main highlight of this show. And let's not forget, there's also another teleconverter lens, which I unfortunately did not have, so I can't talk much about it here. And here are a few shots that we took at Taipei. Again, to see more pictures and videos taken with the OPPO Find X9 Pro, watch our other video linked at the top right corner there or down in the description below. We go in depth as I discovered a lot of quirks with this phone's cameras. And also, a few more things to mention about the OPPO Find X9 Pro. It does have a USB 3 port at the bottom, which means supremely fast file transfers, especially since the pictures are quite huge in size. It also has DisplayPort out mode, which allows us to mirror the display to an external screen. It also has a dual SIM card slot, and I think I still have my Taiwan SIM card left inside. Yeah. There's also an IR blaster at the top, which is always a great thing to have. So, should you buy the OPPO Find X9 Pro? Honestly, I'm kinda tempted to get one myself. Yeah, the picture quality is great though. There are some weird quirks like over sharpening in some scenarios, but the colors are great and the macro shots are fantastic. Of course, thanks to the MediaTek Dimensity 9500, the battery life and performance are also amazing. As for the price, it's future me here, and we are now gonna talk about the price. So the OPPO Find X9 Pro is gonna be at 5,099 ringgit Malaysia, but currently available for 4,999 ringgit Malaysia. I guess they just wanna round up into a very nice number. And you do get a bunch of different free gifts and whatnot, but the price remains the same. And the OPPO Find X9 Pro's Hasselblad teleconverter kit is not included in your purchase or any pre-order bonus, but you do get a discounted price if you pre-order it from now until the 7th of December 2025. And it's 1,000 ringgit Malaysia in retail price, but during this promotional period you can get it for 800 Malaysian ringgit, which I think is a real hefty price, because all this teleconverter lens does is just to, give you more zoom. In a way though, if you compare it with the typical mirrorless camera lenses and whatnot, I think this price is justifiable, but to me it's still kind of high. The phone itself though, I think it's okay price because all of the flagships are within this price range anyway, so yeah, no problems there. So what do you think about the brand new OPPO Find X9 Pro? Are you gonna get it? And what do you think about the MediaTek Dimensity 9500 as well? Let us know down in the comment section below. Do hit that like and subscribe button, as once again we are trying to aim to hit 100k real soon. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.